I just have some notes, but I'd like to just tell you a little bit about myself and about our program, and then I think it's probably more fun or enjoyable just to ask questions and I can answer them. Especially at the beach volleyball, I think there's some unknowns. You know, what's the format? How does it work? How many teams are there? And I'd be happy to answer those. So again, thank you. I want to thank you for inviting me. This is a pleasure. As I've stated with my table, maybe some others, I'm a Manoa resident, so I'm proud to be a Manoian. I don't know if that's correct, but
You can be a lion.
I have to look at the applications. I might not be qualified. But I'm also a transplant. I'm originally from Minnesota. I used to have a very deep accent, don't you know? Oh yeah, I used to talk like that. Born and raised Midwestern, and then I went to the West Coast to play volleyball and pursue college. I went to a little school called UOP, which I'm sure some of you know if you're athletic fans. It's been a great rivalry. Now it's called Pacific. They got rid of the UOP and they can't go back. They lost the court battle. I think it's the University of Phoenix or University of Portland or something. So we've lost our UOP. I'm a proud father of 2 daughters that go to Manoa Elementary School. My eldest is Dylan Michaela Hall. She's 11. And my second daughter is 9, Devin Hannah Hall. Ironically, they have kind of generic Hawaiian names. Not the true Hawaiian, traditional long names. And that is because after college I moved to the Big Island in Kona. And I lived there for a year. I taught on a scuba diving boat called the Aggressor, and I was a bartender trying to make, pay the rent. But living there for 1 year affected me so much about Hawaii that all I asked my ex-wife now, but my wife at the time, was I just want to name our kids a Hawaiian middle name. That's all I asked. And so my kids kind of have a generic Hawaiian name. This is well before I was going to move back to Hawaii. So for me, it's kind of destiny to come back here. Because we lived in California. My kids were both born in San Diego, California. So again, a pleasure to come back here. And they've pretty much been raised here their whole life. My little one said, "Dad, I know you slip I'm Hawaiian." And I'm like, "Hey, honey, you're not Hawaiian, but you're Hawaiian." But in her mind, she is, which I love. And this place is special, and we're blessed to live here. I've actually been here for 7.5 years. I came here originally to coach with Charlie Wade with the Warriors. So I knew Charlie because Charlie was a coach at UOP with the Wahine there, and I was on staff at the men's program. So Charlie and I would cross the hall from each other, would talk volleyball quite often. Then when he came here, he asked me if I wanted to move to Hawaii. I initially said no because I was mad at him. Because I was here the weekend that Wilton retired and announced it, and I went back to UOP and I said, "Charlie, I want that job." And he said, "You're not getting that job." And I was a little upset. I didn't understand that he had already thrown his name in the hat. He felt pretty confident that he would have that job. I went back maybe a couple days later. "Okay, what do I need to do?" And he's like, "You're not getting that job." Then he announced that he got hired, came back to Pacific and wrapped up things, and I walked in his office and I handed him a business card and I said, "Hey, I'd love to be your associate coach." And he said, "Oh, I've already thought of somebody else I'm going to hire." So I was mad at him twice. And then he asked me to be his second assistant. That's why I said no originally. And then I thought about it for 24 hours, and my wife and I at the time were living in Stockton, California, which is a nice town but has a bad rap. And we said, "Hey, we can live in Stockton or we can live in Hawaii." Easy decision for us. So I moved the family here 7.5 years ago. 2 seasons ago, about 2.5 years ago, Dave Shoji walked down my office, which is about 3 doors down, and said, "I need to talk to you." And I've talked to Dave quite often, whether it's boys volleyball or Olympics or whatever, but this was a different tone. So I walked down to his office, and I had seen on the news that morning that Scott Wong was leaving the position and was going to Pepperdine to be the head coach. And he said, "Hey, would you be interested in this job?" I'm like, "What job? What are you talking about?" I played dumb. And he said, "Well, I have an opening for the associate position, and I think you'd be perfect for it." but it comes with another stipulation. And I was like, oh boy, what's this, you know? Well, it says you're also the head sand volleyball coach. You know, how do you feel about that? And I said, well, I really love the sand volleyball job. Do I have to take the associate position? And I had said that because I was actually recently, or at that time, looking for a head coaching position on the sand. I had done volleyball or indoor volleyball for over 20 years of coaching, and I really wanted a new challenge. And I had played beach volleyball. I still play, not very well, but I still go down to Queens and play. I still play in tournaments that they have here. And it was a lifestyle for me that I really wanted to get into, and I saw it as an emerging sport. So actually, I had to go from his office down to Charlie Wade's office, and I walk into the office one step. He's like, "You're gonna go work for Dave, huh?"
No secrets.
So I said, "Charlie, you're unbelievably intuitive." And he says, I've been doing this a while. And I said, "I just want your blessing." And he said, "Absolutely, I understand. It's a good career move for you." And maybe he just wanted to get rid of me. I don't know. But for me, it was, I had moved up with Charlie. I became his associate as well after a year. So he had to fill, that spot, and that was a concern for me. So for a while, I was actually coaching the men's and women's program. There was kind of an overlap. Because Shoji wanted me to start working immediately. In fact, the next weekend I was on a plane recruiting in Southern California. All my colleagues that I knew that the women's side were like, "What are you doing here? There's no guys." But I was coaching both into the season, even for the men's program, because it was a hire in December until HR found out, and then the human resources says you can't do that. So I had to kind of weed myself off of the men's program. However, I still met with a lot of the men's players. I recruited 90% of the team that's playing this weekend. I have great relations with those boys. I wish nothing but the best for them and the program, and they're in good hands. I think they're in better hands than when I was there with the coaching staff he has in place. But again, it was a great opportunity for me to go work with Shoji, a legend, somebody who has built this program, built volleyball in Hawaii, and just kind of learn from him. And the beauty of it is I really thought I'd come in and he would just change everything I had been doing. And he kind of handed me the reins and said, "Okay, let's go to practice. What are you going to do?" And for me, what I liked about it is that he believed in me enough. He wasn't going to micromanage me. He was going to allow me to be the coach I am. I think that's an important thing in any industry, that you allow the people that work under you or with you to be who they are, without micromanaging. I would have liked him to manage me a little bit. I want some of his secrets, but ultimately coaching isn't a lot of secrets. It's about managing people. It's about inspiring kids to be better than they are. It's about elevating performance in the practice gym. And he allowed me to do that. And then, we come around. I've been working with him for 6 months. With the beach team, my first season, I was introduced my first week on the job. We beat Pepperdine, the #1 team in the country, the defending national champs. My first weekend, I'm like, this is easy. I got this. But I had a beach season, which was awesome. It's a whole nother experience I'll talk about. It is a whole different type of coaching. And then we come to fall camp, and I'm like, what's this going to be like? Double days, And it was just really smooth for he and I, and we had Robin Amo on staff as the second assistant. She was below us both at the time, and it was a really fun season of me kind of relearning how to coach women. The game is the same. Men's and women's, it's the same. You're teaching the same types of skills. Your delivery is a little different. How you approach motivating them is a little different. But I have 2 daughters, so I have some experience. I also have 2 older sisters, so I have some more experience. It wasn't that hard of a transition, and we had a great year. We made it to the Elite 8 that year. It was a really proud moment for the state, for the program, for the university. It was really nice, and that was the standard for my first year. I beat the #1 team in beach, and we made it to the Elite 8. So I figured, well, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden we come around to the next year, and we get into summertime, and Shoji's like, "Hey, you got training camp double days. I'm going to Rio to watch my son in the Olympics." I was like, "You're giving me the reins completely?" But again, because Shoji believed in me, it was a really awesome experience. Robin had to leave. Her husband was being reassigned to Las Vegas, so she had to leave. She had to quit the program, which was really hard for her. And we brought on Lindsey Burke, another great here from Hawaii that didn't play here at the university, but grew up here and played here. She came back in another Olympian. So our second assistant was a high mark. You have to be a 3-time Olympian to be a second assistant. But and then we brought back Tom Pestalacci. Tom Pestalacci played here, played for Shoji on the men's side. And I've known him for 20 years. A Southern California junior college coach, a great man, and we were able to bring him back as a volunteer, which was fantastic. He was on a sabbatical, so he was allowed to go coach another team, and what an experience. His wife wasn't very happy to leave her for a semester, and she's a former Wahine as well. But he was on staff, and I ran practices for the double days, had all kinds of great ideas. We were kind of injured. Nikki Taylor was hurt, Clay Greeley was out, and I had this great idea of using Emily Maglio all the way around as an opposite position, playing a non-traditional lineup. And then, of course, our first match is against a very good team. I believe it was Wisconsin. And after the first set, Soji said, "We're done with that. I'm going to put in the team how I want it to go." So my experiment was over. But again, it was a great season. And then last year, we lost to Minnesota. Unfortunately, there Nikki got hurt, and that changed the dynamic of the team. But we still fought. But it was pretty awesome, And again, the beach side of me for that year, we made the NCAA tournament. For the very first time, the NCAA actually had a recognized sport. It was a coaches tournament before that. So this was NCAA. We were part of the first one. We finished 5th, which was great for most people, but that's not our standard. We want to win championships. I'll make this promise to you guys. We're going to win a championship for beach volleyball. We're going to bring one back to UH Manoa and the community here. It will happen eventually. Maybe this year, but if not, it will happen within the next few years. I truly believe in it. I believe we have the facilities, we have the support, we have the coaches, we have the players. It's just up to me not to screw it up. But it'll be a great moment. I tell people often I want to be the Dave Shoji of beach volleyball. I want to win some national championships and be able to coach here for 42 years. It would be amazing. That's kind of the goal here. And beach volleyball is new, but I would say, again, Hawaii has been recognized in beach volleyball as one of the premier institutions. We are kind of where Wahine volleyball was 20 years ago. Everybody wants to play for us. The top talent wants to come here. We have everything that they would need to be a champion. So for us, we're going to get it done. I have 2 assistants. One is Danny Alvarez, who's a longtime local. His kids go to school here, but he's an outrigger member. Has done all the volleyball tournaments for a long, long time, and actually was on staff originally when beach volleyball started. Beach volleyball's been around for 5 years now. He was on the staff with Scott Wong originally. He's a volunteer, so he comes every day to work. He doesn't get any money for it, and loves it, and is passionate and a great staff member. And then I brought on another guy by the name of Evan Silverstein, who actually is a law school graduate here, but a longtime volleyball guy from New York. He was a kid, grew up in Long Island, and then went to ASU to undergrad, and then came here to get his law degree. I knew him from the professional circuit. He and I played in actually tournaments together, ironically, and he just had enough of what we call lawyering. He just didn't want to do it. He was an environmental lawyer. He worked on the Big Island, and it wasn't his cup of tea. He loved the education. He loved kind of what he thought it might be, but I think he learned that it wasn't really all that it was promised, and I think it was a lot of work without a lot of payout. So he had actually been coaching some volleyball and done some local club stuff here, and so it was an easy fit for me to ask him to come on to staff to get paid very little. Because as sports start, obviously the coaches' salaries aren't very big, and to be able to live and pay your bills here in Hawaii is a challenge. But he's a simple guy. He spent the first year on my couch while he was my assistant, and we made it work. Now he's paid a little more. He's actually a full-time assistant coach, which this year was the first year that we were able to do that. Even with all the success, it's been a real skeleton kind of crew. I'm really a volunteer head coach for the beach side. My salary is 99% from the indoor volleyball, which is pretty unique. for a program that is number 5 in the country currently. The athletic director is wanting to split the programs, and mostly just split me. You can't split me in two, but have me go one way or the other, and having a salary appropriate that I can live here. But it becomes a Board of Regents issue. It becomes a legislative issue to appropriate a new salary for the university. So I'm patient. But currently, for the last 2.5 years, I've been coaching 2 teams, working twice every day. I go to practice in the morning with the indoor team, and then I have practice in the evening with the beach team. Recruiting twice. I'm out. I was on the road 28 days this summer recruiting. And I could be gone every weekend, truthfully, to be recruiting, because that's really what it's about. But I have a family, so Dave was nice enough not to send me out every weekend. We'll see what Robin does. She's my new boss, and she's awesome. She's going to do great things here. I truly believe in what she wants to accomplish. Anything she's ever put her mind to, she's succeeded. And I think the head coaching job will be no exception. But in my heart or in my desires, I will probably move away from the indoor and just be the beach coach. But it takes some time, like anything in Hawaii, especially at the university. Things don't always work so fast. But generally, maybe I'll work through the summer or the fall season, and then I'll split, or it could be sooner, we don't know. Currently, I just come to work every day and do the best job I can for both programs. And we are sharing some athletes, so there's some uniqueness. We have 10 indoor athletes that are playing beach. We have 16 full-time beach kids, though, so it's quite a big roster. I've had a couple of the kids this last week decide that from the indoor side they can't dedicate themselves to play both, which is fine. It's really hard to play 2 sports and be successful academically. So we didn't penalize them. We allowed them to make choices. Plus, there's a new staff. There's a new sheriff in town, Robin. And I think it's important that they kind of dial in with her. So a couple key pieces from the indoor that we're playing on the beach team are no longer. But again, we have enough kids that will survive. And that was my forward thinking. That's why I brought in 16 full-time beach kids. Because eventually you'll have to split the athletes completely, because it's too hard for them to not train all year. It's too hard for them to go back and forth and kind of really work through that, or lift in season in an off season program. So in other words, they're max lifting 4 days a week even though they're in season. You wouldn't do that if you were in season only. So the indoor girls have to lift like they're out of season, but they're playing in the beach side. So it's a tremendous challenge. However, if there's a really special athlete, if there's somebody like a Nikki Taylor or Emily Maglio, Robin and I have already talked that we would allow that person to play both. If we can get that type of recruit to Hawaii. Because a lot of the top programs, the USCs, the Pepperdines, Florida States, are making kids go beach only, which I understand. But they're losing out on some really talented kids that want to play both. UCLA is currently the only other school that's allowing you to play both. So to be successful, we've decided if you're a stud, if you're a local kid that we really want, we'll allow you to play both sports. But generally, it will become a split. There's a bird over here. That's a good one. Just a couple things this season, and I'll open up to questions. I know I'm a little long. Sorry, coaches talk a lot. That's what we do. We're proud. We did beat number 2 Pepperdine this weekend. That helped us quite a bit. It was a great match. Our flights. Let me explain this. Sorry. In beach volleyball, you play what's called a duel. It's a lot like tennis. You have 5 teams, they have 5 teams. So your top team, your ones will play each other. The 2s will play each other, 3s, 4s, and 5s, and you have to win 3 out of the 5 to win a duel. Each match is 2 out of 3. You don't play a 5-set match in beach, it'd be too much. But you play 2 out of 3. So we beat Pepperdine in the 5s, the 4s, the 3s, the 2s in straight sets. And we went into the last flight, number 1, and my number 1s had beaten Pepperdine twice already this year. We were up in the second set, 16-11, going to sweep them. And ironically, it would have been the first time Pepperdine had ever been swept in beach volleyball in their entire 5 years. And then the wheels came off. And my number 1 team battled extremely well, but like volleyball, the ball bounces another way. I'll run here. Great plays by them. I'll give Pepperdine a lot of credit. They ended up winning that flight, but the duel was already over. We had won. So, you know, it may not be great TV, but it was certainly nice being a coach knowing I lost, but I won. So it was a really nice win on senior night, right? Those are always the moments you want to win and kind of honor the kids. Ironically, there's a senior on the #1 team and a freshman. So this girl, Morgan Martin, who's on the #1 team, is somebody you guys will get to know. She's playing on the #1 team over at Nikki Taylor, over at Emily Maglio, and she's special. She actually is a world champion in beach volleyball. She won the U17's World Championships 2 years ago when she was in high school. So she's really good. She's probably 6'1", 6'2", which is tall, but not compared to volleyball standards now. But for beach volleyball, you don't have to be. We are the tallest team in the league, or in the country, with Maglio, with Nikki Taylor, when Annie Mitchum was on the team. Like, we have some size, which is very intimidating. But generally, your kids are about 5'9" to 6'1" in beach volleyball. And we have a lot of kids that came in. We had 7 freshmen come in, all beach only. Several high school All-Americans. I have 5 more coming next year that are beach only. 2 more kids from Canada who have been really good for Hawaii. And then 3 other Southern California kids that are going to be special. But the beach volleyball, it's growing. It's hard to know when they play, how they play. We play out in the sun, so we understand it's hard and hot for a lot of people to come. But generally how it works is if we play a game at 3 o'clock, depending on how many courts we're utilizing, you may play in stages. So if we play at 3 with 2 courts, then we'll play at 4 with 2 more courts, and we'll play at 5 with 2 more courts, because there'll actually be six flights, because there's a 6th one you play, which is an exhibition. Doesn't count, but it gives those kids an opportunity to play. We do that up on campus, the TC Ching complex. We have 4 courts, but 2 are on the other side of the running track, and 2 are actually with lights in our competition courts. So if you ever see the time when it starts, you have about 3 hours to come and try to catch some volleyball. We want to play more night games so there isn't the sun, because there is no shade out there right now. But down at Queens Beach, we usually play with 5 courts, so it happens just like that. All 5 flights play at one time, which is crazy with 3 coaches. So we're running to different courts to try to help these kids. But again, beach volleyball, they don't allow much coaching. Your coaching is allowed to do when you change sides every 7 points, or if you call 1 timeout. Other than that, you can't instruct. You can't be on the sideline talking to the kids. You can't yell at the referee. It's very much mimicked like the international model. You just have to sit there and kind of watch your kids struggle or succeed. So it's a really unique experience. And I'd say the one thing I could say before I open it up, it's less coaching, it's more psychology. I'm like a marriage counselor because it's pairs, and it's not just the 5 pairs we have 10 pairs. And every day there's, "Kay, can I talk to you about my partner? Coach, can I talk to you about this? I'm worried about her. I'm worried," it's a unique experiment in human psychology and relationship development, helping them work on critical communication, stressful moments, because obviously in 2-person volleyball, when somebody makes a mistake, it's pretty obvious. And there's a lot of we're trying to help them not point. We're telling them, hey, what can you do to help your partner? What can you do to be better? What can you do skill-wise to be better? Instead of going, hey, my partner can't side out, my partner can't serve, she keeps hitting into the net. This happens quite often. So I'm kind of getting a second degree here in psychology, and I'm not very good at it, but it's a pretty fun experiment to go through, and I'm, again, very blessed to be working at University of Hawaii in the volleyball world and living here in Hawaii. So thank you. I have open up for questions. There is no bad questions.
How do you pair your teams? You say you got 16?
Yeah, it takes time. We go through the whole fall and we say, okay, I think this person can play with each other. Now, obviously, if you're you're a defender, you're going to play in the back. You got to be with a big person that's going to play at the net and block. So that's one way to pair. We may pair the top kids, like Michaela at number 1 and my freshman Morgan Martin. They're the best volleyball players, so I'm going to put them together. But sometimes the personalities don't mesh. So we're like, that's not going to work. And we have done that over the years. This partnership we tried for a couple weeks, that's not going to work. We're going to switch them. So there is no concrete black and white answer. You try to put them in like skill sets, something that's similar in their talent levels. And then if they can groove personality-wise, that's the other thing. And then you decide, once they're a pair, where do they fit in your hierarchy of your team? Are they a 1? Are they a 2? Are they a 3? Are they a 4? Are they a 5? Are they lower? So it's an ongoing experiment. This is the first year we kept it kind of together the whole time. Last year we were flipping partners, seeds. We moved a lot of things around, and that was frustrating for the girls. The feedback they told us was, we really want to stick with somebody and work through it, even though they kept complaining about their partners. So.
That's gross for them.
Yes.
Do you have any scholarships you offer the girls to come from mainland to here?
Yes, we do. We are what's called a fully funded program. We get 6 scholarships. So that's the NCAA allotment for beach volleyball. So it's 6 scholarships for your entire team, much like men's volleyball gets 4.5, and they deal percentages. So I have a lot of kids that have walked on, that are getting paid nothing, that are very good, and I have some kids that are on 5 to 10%. Obviously, my freshman Morgan Martin's on a much higher percentage, but that's up to the coaching staff to award them scholarships. Sometimes that's a challenge because you're trying to find out the market value of a player and what it is for you, and that may be different to a different university. So a school that's maybe not as desirable is going to give them a lot bigger offer. So it's a total interesting kind of general manager position that we play. But I've been coaching men's volleyball for 20 years, and it's the same. So I'm very comfortable offering percentages, and generally what we do at UH, I offer you a scholarship that I feel is fair, that the family doesn't feel insulted by, and then if you do everything right, if you're a great student, if you're a great volleyball player, and if you're a good citizen, if you're doing all the right things, making good choices, I'll try to give you more money as you work through it, as you get older, as you move up, as much as we have available. I have 27 people on the team, obviously 10 indoor girls. They don't count for scholarships. And you can only have 14 total scholarships of your 6. So I can only have 14 people on beach scholarship money. So you have to, really be careful about how you're putting your money. We do have local kids and we do have mainland kids, but we'll recruit the world. I'll go get foreigners as well if we feel that that's what we need to win. Come on, all right.
Australia, have you done anything?
I haven't gone, but I think I might be going this summer.
Great.
I might go to Australia and then Brazil because those are hotbeds for volleyball.
Football,
The football went,
softball.
but you know what? I wasn't able to go because I was in season for indoor. But a lot of, like Charlie Wade, a lot of the other staff for other sports went on that trip. It's an easy sell for Australia here.
Right.
For sure. And obviously I had a New Zealand player for the men's program, Johan Timmer, great kid. So I have some experience and some connections over in that area.